Hello guys and welcome to my channel. My name is Jesper Offersen and today we're going to talk about sunscreens, and we are going to look at two sunscreens which is from a company called, I think it's called Altruist or Altruist, I'm not quite sure, but it looks like this, and then you can think about how the name is to be said yourself. These ones here, and the other one is this one here, is SPF50 and SPF30, and they are created by a dermatologist, and basically it's two guys. One of them is an economist and the other one is a dermatologist, and they have both been working in the skincare industry for many years, and then decided to make these products here. And on their webpage you can find other products as well, and their main goal was to do something that would protect you from the sun, but also be accessible in the sense that it should not be too expensive, but still it should be working very well. So definitely they are not expensive. I was quite, when I looked at the page and saw the prices, I thought, okay, can this really be good? But what they are saying is that actually they are not spending that much money on marketing and all that sort of stuff, and they're, yeah, so what they say, they're not making that much money as they could or whatever. I'm not quite sure. They don't cost a lot. So how do they work, or do they work well? Well, if you look at the rating for the stars, so the Boots rating, it has a 5 stars. Both of them has a 5 stars, and you can see that on the front here, if I hold them like that. And what that means is simply that the UVA filters, they are protecting you as well as the UVB filter, so the SPF. That's really great, and but there are, of course, some issues, and I think it seems like regardless of what sort of sunscreen that you are taking, there will always be some little hurdle that you need to overcome, or kind of like say, okay, well, it is either this or it is that, so I need to take something. So unless you just want to stay in this shade always, not many wants to do that. But when we are looking at it, I'm thinking what they say on their webpage is that it is, and it's a little bit weird, because they say, I guess they're saying that this is reef safe. And that is, of course, about what sort of sun filters that are in the products, which sort of UV filters they have put in. And they say something like, this is reef free. And I was just thinking, well, I hope so. And are there other things they would like to say now they are already on it, that it is free from? Obviously, there is no reef in this. So basically what they mean is that it is reef safe. And why they're saying it is reef safe is because it lives up to the bill from in Hawaii, that there are not these UV filters in it, which is called oxide and oxybenzone, and those are the ones that are banned in Hawaii. They are also banned in the US Virgin Islands, and there is another UV filter which is banned in the US Virgin Islands, and that is something called octocrylene, and that is in a lot of sunscreen as well, but you cannot use it, or you cannot import it to the US Virgin Islands. So unfortunately, when we look at the ingredients list on this product here and this product here, we find the ingredients, and for this one here, which is this one here, the SPF50, it is very high up on the list, so there is a lot of it in it, and that would be sort of the main UV filter, and that is what I said before, that is the octocrylene, and that is kind of like 1, 2, 3, like the 4th ingredient or something like that. So the difference between the SPF50 and the SPF of 30 is that octocrylene is further down the list in this product here. So there's something else in it as well. If you look at the Danish web page for the consumer agency, then you will see that there is something called a TENK, and they will say that if you have octocrylene in the product, then it is a hormone disturber, and they will give it the lowest rating. So they will not recommend a product that has the octrequercene in it. And there is something else they will not recommend either, and if it have that, it will have the lowest rating as well. And unfortunately, that is something that is in this product as well. And that is something called ethylhexyl salicylate. And that is a hormone disturber as well. And that is in both of these products here. So basically, this is an SPF of 30 and this is an SPF of 50. The difference between those two is simply just like how much is there in these products of the various stuffs. So if there is a lot of octrequercene in the product, then you get an SPF of 50, and if there is less, you get an SPF of 30. So are there other things in these products that you should look out for? And yes, there is. And some will say that that is not good for the environment as well. And you will often in sunscreens, you will find titanium oxide, and you will find a zinc oxide as well. So in these products here, there are not zinc oxide in it, but there is titanium oxide. So it is in the nano form, and it is in the not nano form, or non-nano form. And the non-nano form is further down the list. But unfortunately, if you would not like to have this sort of a white cast on your face, particularly if you are of a darker skin tone, this will be very prominent, I would say. I mean, even for my skin, I would say I can see it. It gives this sort of a white cast, kind of like if you're having a very weak mineral sunscreen on, but basically it is a mineral sunscreen, though it is a chemical one as well. So it's kind of like a 2-in-1, but it does give this sort of a white look. So could it be that I would use it on the beach? Well, maybe it could be, because if I was using it on the beach, I wouldn't be so like, do I look a little bit pale or whatever? It's kind of like, does it work or not? Where on a daily basis, I would use something that would not give me this sort of a white cast. So on the daily basis, I always use the Anthelias from La Roche-Posay in the SPF of 30. I'm really happy with that one. So both of these one has titanium oxide in it, and they both give you this sort of white look. So they promise that this will not be too greasy and so on. When I tried it, I would say that I can put something on my hand so you can see how it looks. I would say that it felt really greasy, and I thought this is never gonna sink in. But actually, after a little while, maybe longer than just a little while, it did kind of like calm down. And it might be a little bit difficult to see the white cast on camera. But to begin with, it is of course white, but all sort of creams will be white as you're just putting them on. So I would say that it, particularly obviously the SPF of 50, which usually they are much more thick and greasy than the ones that only are in the SPF of 30. And definitely this one here, the SPF 50, is way more thick and greasy. But maybe you can now see how it shines. And now I have just put it on. So if I hold it up against the light, you can maybe see that it kind of like shines. And it will kind of like shine that much for a while. I would say maybe 20 minutes or something like that. Though I did find that it sunk into my skin on the face a little bit easier than it did on my hands. So kind of like there is obviously a difference between the skin various places on your body, but it seemed like it was sinking in better on the face. But still, it's not like overwhelmingly greasy, but it is like, could it be a little bit problematic to put foundation on top? I would think so. I would think that it would be just that little bit too greasy. So that's why I would say maybe use it only on the beach. But of course, if you are in a place where you are not allowed to use something with the octrequercene in it, well, then you can't really use it. So yeah, it is it will kind of like keep being a little bit sticky, but it does kind of like calm down and become a little less greasy. So let's see the other one, the SPF of 30. And that is immediately much more light. It's not so thick. Not that the other one is kind of like particularly thick, but if you're comparing it to something like this one here, which is like, it's almost like milk or cream or something like that. It's really like, it pours out of the thing, the container. So now this one here is much more easy to distribute. So now this is sinking in a little bit better, and now maybe you can see the difference. Now it's just put on, so of course they will shine much more than they otherwise would after a little while. So maybe actually this one will shine a bit more than this one, and this one is the SPF50 and this one is the SPF of 30. But the SPF30 is much easier to put on, and it's not as greasy as the SPF of 50. And what about the smell? Is there any perfume in it? No, there is no perfume in it, and it doesn't smell too chemically. Maybe the SPF of 50 smells a little bit more, but there's no perfume in it. There is just the chemicals in it that is giving the odor. So, and just to say, this one does actually have a perfume in it. So if you don't like perfume, this is not for you. But otherwise, I would say that that is still my go-to one. But these ones, they are much cheaper. And if you want the UVA protection and you want a high SPF, then I would definitely say that this is something you can use. But just keep in mind that it has octreotide in it, and that is a hormone disturber, just as the other one they have in here, which is the ethylhexyl salicylate. And if you wonder if it annoys your eyes, what I did when I tested it, I actually applied it over my eyes as well, both the SPF 50 and the SPF of 30, and it did not annoy my eyes. And actually yesterday I was exercising, and I was actually putting it on just before I did that, just to see how it would perform, if it would start to annoy my eyes, and it didn't. It might be that it went into my eyes. Well, I can't really say if it did, but I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel that it annoyed my eyes or anything like that. So my eyes did not start to run or be otherwise annoyed by these things. So for that, on me, it did not annoy my eyes. And the other thing about the La Roche-Posay one here is that that is specially formulated so that it will not sting your eyes. It is sort of like anti-sting technology or something, they say, and definitely you can put that over your eyelids as well, and it was just stay put and not annoy your eyes, or that is at least my experience, and that is what the company says. But this one here, they did not annoy my eyes either. So I think that was all I had to say about these products here. One thing I can say is that they are a sort of a charity related thing as well, so I think some of their income, what they earn on these ones, goes to some sort of a charity. Well, I think it was albinism in Tanzania or something like that. So they are very much, I mean, I think these guys that are making these products here, they met each other in Africa when they were doing some sort of charity work. So yes, one of their points was to make something that was cheap and that was therefore available to many more people than otherwise, because other sunscreens, they can be rather expensive. So yes, if you would like to see more of these sort of videos, please subscribe, hit the bell, and do all those things you must do in order to be notified when I upload more of these sort of videos. Thank you for watching. See you. Bye.